Hi everyone, it's Lynn here from Pink Whisper Designs. Today I thought I'd show you how I made this fun Later Gator scene card. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start off by using the Watercolor Wishes Petite paper pack from Lawn Fawn, and we're going to be selecting that blue color. Then I'm going to take the largest frame from the outside in stitched rectangle stackable frames, and then I'm going to use my stitch cloud backdrop. This is the portrait one. So we're going to die cut the frame, and then we're going to die cut the cloudy backdrop over that frame. So there you can see the stitched frame all the way around. Now I'm going to place it back on this cloudy backdrop, and then I'm going to run that through the die cut machine again. Now you'll see we have that beautiful stitch border all the way around the edges, and then those stitch clouds as well. That's going to fit on the front of our A2 size card. This is a top folding card. So it measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and that's going to leave a little bit of a border all the way around. So now with my Strathmore Bristol Smooth 100-pound cardstock, I'm going to grab the stitched hillside borders, and I'm going to take that one there. And then from the grassy hillside borders, I'm going to select the one that lines up with that stitched border. And then I'm going to take a second one here, just to create a couple of layers of grass. So now for this stitched border, I'm going to use the Spiffy Speckles Petite paper pack in the blue. Then I'm going back to that same frame we used before, the largest one, and then I'm going to use the leftover from that piece of paper to create the area that we need for the little pond. So I'm just going to use a portion of this because I don't need it all, but I do want that stitched border around the edge. So I'm just cutting off the excess there, taping it down, and running it through my machine. And you can see there now we have stitched edge around the two sides and the bottom, and that's going to fit right on that cloudy backdrop. And now you can see that that full panel will fit on the inside of our card. So now I want to go back to that stitched border, and I'm going to position that down here on this little panel, and then I'm going to run that through my Sizzix Sidekick machine. And that's going to fit right down there at the bottom. But I do want to create a couple of grassy borders. So this is the one that lines up with that stitch border. I'm going to be using the Cilantro green 100-pound cardstock, again from Lawn Fawn. And I'm going to die cut that frame, that same frame again with the Cilantro paper. So now again we have that stitch border. So now I'm going to die cut two of my grassy borders here. So that one I want right up against the pond there. So I'm just positioning it in place, and I'm going to tape it down with a little bit of purple tape. Then I'm going to turn it around because I do need a second border, and I want that one to be up a little bit higher than that first one. So I'm just kind of guesstimating at this point where that's going to be. So don't be too fussy here because we will cut it down a little bit later. So now I have those two grassy borders and my little pond. So that's going to fit right in place there. So now I'm taking the Ocean Wave Accents dies, and I'm going to create a little bit of ripples of water here in my little pond. So I'm going to go ahead and tape down all these little dies with my purple tape, and then I'm going to run that through my machine as well. Now you can see there that that creates these little waves. So now I'm going to take my Chip Sapphire Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just going to ink this little panel up all the way around, and I'm going to keep a couple of lighter areas. And I'm going to tuck a little bit of color in there at the top of each of these little waves. And then I'm going to blend that out a little bit more. Again, keeping a few little lighter areas there. So now with this panel here that's going on the inside of the card, I'm going to go ahead and ink that up all the way around. and leaving the center the lightest. So now I'm going to take my Jelly Roll white gel pen and I'm just going to add a few little highlights at the tops of each of those little waves. And you can see that there. I want to add a little bit of color to the grassy borders. So I'm going to take my Mowed Lawn Distress Oxide ink and I'm just going to apply a little bit of that color right along the top of those blades and down just a little bit into that grass. I'm going to do the same thing for that other panel. This is the front panel, so I'm adding a little bit of ink along that bottom edge as well. Now I'm just going to fluff up that grass a little bit with my fingers here just to give it a little bit more dimension. So now I'm going back to the card and I'm going to attach the cloudy backdrop panel and I'm using my Tombow glue tape here. And I'm just going to center it on the front of the card. Then I can attach the rest of these pieces as well. And you can see here, I'm just going to adjust that back border of grass there. And it was just a little bit taller than I wanted it to be. So I'm just going to cut off that about a ½ inch off of that one. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach the rest of these. And I'm not putting tape all the way up to the top because I need a little room to slide in my palm trees later and the little alligator. So now using the Wild for You stamp set, I'm going to be taking that alligator, the butterfly, and the later gator sentiment. And then I'm going to be using the palm tree and the coconuts. And this is from the Life is Good set. Now using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink pad, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my little alligator. Then I'm going to stamp 3 of the butterflies, 3 of the palm trees, and quite a few of the little coconuts. I ended up stamping 8 of them, but I did only use 6 in the end here. So now I've grabbed the dies, the coordinating dies. I'm going to attach those with some purple tape, and I'm going to run those through my little Sizzix Sidekick machine. And don't forget, all the products I'm using today are listed below. So now we have everything die cut. We can go ahead and start coloring. I'm using the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens in the light green and the deep green. And I'm going to go ahead and start with that lightest color. And then I'm going to add that darker color. And then I'm just going to pull those together. And these are a water-based pen or water-based marker. And I'm using my blender pen here, the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pen in the blender. And I'm just going to blend those colors together. Now I'm going to grab the dark brown and the beige. And I'm going to do the trunk of this palm tree. So I'm starting with the lightest color. I'm just adding that darker color just to one side here. And then I'm going to pull from left to right. I'm just lifting the pen each time and just pulling it over, just to kind of make it look a little darker on one side. So there you can see that up close. Now with the brown and the oatmeal, I'm going to do all of the coconuts. So I did all the palm trees the same way. And now with the coconuts, again, I'm starting with the lightest color, adding that darker color, and blending those two together. And there again, you can see that up close. Now using yellow and orange, I'm going to do the little butterflies. And if your blender pen gets dirty and to change colors, you need to clean it off on a scrap piece of paper. Once it goes clear, you'll know that it's clean, and then you can go ahead and start blending your colors. Now with olive green, mid green, and sugar almond pink, I'm going to go ahead and color my little alligator. And I'm trying to keep that center part of his body the lightest. Now I'm adding a little bit of pink to the cheeks there, and then I'm going to continue blending that. And I decided to add a little bit of pink there to his nostrils there, just to add a little bit more dimension there. Then I'm using that darker color on the top there. So now I'm going to grab the Jelly Roll black gel pen, and I'm just going to add some little dots here on his back. And there you can see that up close. So now we have everything colored in. Now I'm going to take those 3 clouds from the Spring Showers collection, and I went ahead and die cut all 3 of those out of the Bristol Smooth 100-pound cardstock. And now I'm going to grab that sentiment that I mentioned before, the later Gator sentiment, and I'm going to take the Onyx Black ink again and stamp later Gator right here on this largest cloud. So now with the panel that's going on the inside of the card, I'm going to stamp Miss You Already. And this is from the Plain and Simple stamp set. So I'm going back to my VersaFine Onyx Black ink again, and I'm just going to center this and stamp that. So now that can get attached to the inside of our card. And I'm just going to center that. So now I want to start adding all my little elements to the scene here. So I'm going to grab my little palm trees, and I'm taking the Lawn Fawn glue tube. I'm going to apply glue on the bottom of these palm trees, and then I'm going to add some Scotch foam mounting tape to the top just to give it a little bit more dimension at the top. And I'm going to do the same thing for all 3 of these. And I'm just using that pick tool just to slide that in between those blades of grass there. So the next thing I want to do is add the little coconuts, and I'm going to pop all of these up. So I'm just going to cut some little squares of that foam mounting tape, remove the backing, and just pop those up. And I did the same thing for all of those. Now for my little alligator, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to add some foam up at the top part and then a little bit of glue down at the bottom. And I'm going to slide that in between those blades of grass again. So now I'm going to add the clouds. And for that largest one, I'm just going to glue that one down. And this medium-sized one, I'm going to go ahead and pop that one up. And then the smallest one is going to get glued flat as well. Now I'm going to add my little butterflies, and again I want to add a little dimension to those, so I'm just going to cut some little tiny squares of that foam tape again and pop those 3 up. Now I'm going to my Jelly Roll white gel pen, and I'm just going to add a little bit of a highlight here on these little butterflies, and I'll show you this up close here in a second. And then I'm just highlighting the coconuts and a few little highlights on the back of the alligator and on the tree as well. So that's the finished card for today. That's the inside there. So this just makes a fun little card. You can see all the dimension we have there up close. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to visit me at pinkwhisperdesigns.com. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.